Cowboys fans, the defensive side of the ball has become a whirlwind of questions, uncertainty, and high stakes. The dismissal of Matt Eberflus as defensive coordinator has sent shockwaves through the organization, leaving fans and analysts alike wondering who can steer this unit toward consistency and excellence. For years, the Dallas Cowboys have struggled to define themselves defensively, cycling through coordinators who either underperformed or failed to implement a system that maximized the roster's potential. Now, the organization faces the delicate task of finding a leader capable of transforming not just the schemes on the board, but the energy, identity, and mentality of an entire defensive group. The weight of expectation looms large, and the new hire will need to balance innovation with practical execution to satisfy a fan base that demands progress and results. Looking at the Cowboys' defensive history, it is clear why caution permeates every hiring decision. Previous coordinators, whether flashy or conservative, often failed to adapt their strategies to the strengths of the players on the field, resulting in inconsistent performances and wasted talent. The next defensive leader must bridge this gap, shaping a system that aligns with personnel rather than forcing players into rigid frameworks. Success will require creativity, foresight, and an ability to adjust on the fly, particularly against increasingly sophisticated NFL offenses that can exploit predictable tendencies. It is not enough to design impressive schemes on paper. The coordinator must cultivate clarity and confidence within the roster, enabling players to execute with precision and improvisational intelligence when necessary. The debate over potential candidates highlights a tension between experience and innovation. Some fans yearn for coaches with proven track records, those who have led elite defenses and possess the knowledge to impose discipline and structure. Others advocate for fresh ideas, hoping a younger, more inventive coach could introduce schemes that disrupt modern offenses and bring a new energy to the locker room. Striking the right balance will be critical, as experience without adaptability risks repeating past failures, while innovation without understanding the nuances of professional football could lead to chaos. The ideal candidate must demonstrate both a strategic mind and an ability to connect with players, inspiring confidence while fostering a culture of accountability and focus. Schematics and disguise are now central to defensive success. Modern offenses require defensive coordinators to mix pressures, rotations, and coverage schemes in ways that keep quarterbacks guessing and prevent predictable outcomes. Zone blitzes, disguise fronts, and dynamic pressure packages have become essential tools for any competitive defense. Implementing these strategies requires not only tactical knowledge, but also the ability to communicate complex concepts clearly, ensuring that players understand their responsibilities and can perform under high-pressure conditions. A strong coordinator must translate sophisticated strategies into on-field execution, giving the defense flexibility while maintaining cohesion and discipline. Player development is equally crucial. The Cowboys roster contains talent, but raw ability alone cannot compensate for poor guidance or lack of strategic positioning. Previous coordinators have often failed to unlock individual potential, resulting in frustration and inconsistent performances. The next defensive leader must assess each player's strengths and weaknesses, adjusting roles and responsibilities to maximize effectiveness. Whether refining the secondary, repositioning linebackers, or altering the front seven approach, the objective is to create a unit where each player thrives and contributes to a cohesive defensive effort. Beyond tactical knowledge, a strong coordinator must earn trust, communicate effectively, and make decisions that enhance both individual and team performance. Veteran leadership within the coaching staff will also play a pivotal role. Experienced assistants or former players can help translate complex game plans into practical execution, mentoring younger athletes and guiding position groups through nuanced responsibilities. Their presence can stabilize the unit, providing continuity and insight during moments of uncertainty or in-game adjustments. However, experience alone is insufficient. It must be paired with vision, adaptability, and the ability to implement challenging schemes while maintaining discipline and motivation. Across the roster, a defensive coordinator's influence extends beyond the playbook, shaping culture, accountability, and the environment in which players operate. The secondary will likely be one of the most scrutinized areas. The Cowboys' defensive backs have shown flashes of brilliance, but consistency has been elusive. A new coordinator will need to evaluate existing personnel, making decisions that could involve bringing in veterans for stability or fostering younger players who can grow within the system. Coverage schemes must align with player strengths, and the ability to disguise alignment and responsibilities will be essential in preventing game-altering mismatches. Developing trust and confidence in the secondary is just as important as implementing new tactics, as these players must react instinctively to complex offensive patterns without hesitation. Culture will also be a defining factor. The right defensive coordinator sets expectations, demands accountability, and fosters an environment where each player understands their role and responsibilities. Past seasons have been marked by confusion, inconsistent effort, and unclear messaging, hindering overall performance. Establishing a culture of discipline, focus, and resilience is as vital as any schematic innovation, as it determines how players respond to adversity and execute under pressure. Leadership at the top must be evident, consistent, and respected, creating a foundation that allows both individual growth and collective cohesion to flourish. Innovation and adaptability will likely define the next era for the Cowboys' defense. The NFL has evolved, with offenses becoming faster, more unpredictable, and increasingly complex. A coordinator who can anticipate tendencies, implement layered strategies, and create opportunities for turnovers can dramatically change the trajectory of the defense. From unique blitz packages to complex coverage rotations, creativity will be essential in converting a historically inconsistent unit into a force that can challenge top-tier quarterbacks. Success will require an integrated approach, blending tactical ingenuity with strong communication, player development, and leadership. Fan engagement cannot be underestimated. Cowboys supporters are deeply invested, analyzing every decision and holding the organization to a high standard. Every adjustment, scheme change, and coaching hire is scrutinized, and the pressure to deliver tangible results is immense for the next coordinator. Understanding the expectations of a passionate fan base is critical, as public perception and confidence in the team can directly influence player morale and overall performance. Results-driven leadership that balances strategic vision with practical implementation will be essential in meeting both organizational and fan expectations while stabilizing a defense that has long struggled to find identity and consistency. As the search for a new defensive coordinator continues, the focus inevitably turns to the specific traits that will define the next era for the Dallas Cowboys defense. Beyond X's and O's, this is a role that demands leadership under pressure, an ability to instill confidence in players, and the foresight to anticipate offensive trends before they exploit weaknesses. Modern NFL offenses are faster, more creative, and increasingly complex, meaning that a defensive coordinator must not only understand the game at a strategic level, but also translate those insights into clear, actionable plans that players can execute instinctively. The challenge is not merely to call plays that look good on paper, but to cultivate a defense capable of adapting dynamically, maintaining discipline while responding creatively to unpredictable in-game situations. One area that will be scrutinized heavily is the front seven. The Cowboys have seen promising talent in their defensive line and linebacker cores, but without proper guidance, even the most gifted athletes can underperform. The next coordinator must balance aggressiveness with discipline, teaching players how to read formations, anticipate movements, and attack with precision while maintaining coverage responsibilities. Linebackers need to be versatile, capable of rushing the passer, defending the run, and dropping into coverage seamlessly. Similarly, defensive linemen must execute gap assignments and stunts with timing and coordination. A cohesive front seven sets the tone for the entire defense, controlling the line of scrimmage and dictating the pace of the game. Equally important is communication within the unit. Misalignment or hesitation at the professional level can lead to explosive plays and game-changing mistakes. A defensive coordinator must foster an environment where players communicate efficiently, trust one another, and understand situational responsibilities. This requires a coach who is not only tactically brilliant, but also an effective motivator and teacher, capable of breaking down complex concepts and ensuring they are executed flawlessly on the field. Leadership in this role is as much about teaching and reinforcing habits as it is about strategy, creating a defense that functions as a synchronized whole, rather than a collection of individual talents. The secondary remains a cornerstone of evaluation. The Cowboys have exhibited moments of excellence, but inconsistency has plagued the group for years. The incoming coordinator will need to decide whether to rely on veteran presence to stabilize coverage or invest in the development of younger players capable of executing a new system. Coverage schemes must align with personnel strengths, and the ability to disguise assignments is crucial in an era where quarterbacks are reading defenses faster than ever. Developing trust, cohesion, and confidence in the secondary will directly impact the success of the pass rush, as pressure and coverage must work in tandem to create turnovers and limit big plays. Innovation will be a distinguishing feature for the next defensive leader. The NFL rewards creativity and coordinators who can implement disguise pressures, exotic blitz packages, and multi-level coverage rotations have consistently created elite defenses. Dallas has historically struggled in this regard, often relying on predictable looks that allow offenses to dictate the pace. A new coordinator with ingenuity can turn a vulnerable defense into a disruptive force, forcing mistakes, generating turnovers, and creating momentum-changing sequences. Success will require a combination of tactical brilliance, communication, and trust between coach and players, ensuring that complex schemes are executed seamlessly under pressure. Adaptability is another critical element. Injuries, matchups, and performance inconsistencies require the defense to pivot rapidly from week to week. A coordinator must identify tendencies, exploit weaknesses, and adjust alignments without disrupting confidence or rhythm. This level of flexibility demands not only deep strategic knowledge, but also the ability to manage personnel effectively, ensuring that each player is positioned to succeed, regardless of the circumstances. In Dallas, where defensive instability has been a recurring issue, the ability to adjust and respond dynamically could be the difference between mediocrity and competitiveness on a consistent basis. Player development continues to be a decisive factor. Talent alone cannot carry a defense in the NFL. Coaching, guidance, and role optimization are essential to translating potential into performance. The Cowboys roster contains athletes capable of excellence, but past coordinators have often failed to harness this talent effectively. A strong defensive leader will evaluate each player's strengths, customize responsibilities, and make tactical adjustments that amplify individual contributions while reinforcing team cohesion. This holistic approach ensures that players are confident in their roles, minimizing mistakes and maximizing impact in every phase of the game. Culture remains at the heart of long-term success. Accountability, focus, and professionalism are not just buzzwords, they are measurable qualities that define how a defense performs under pressure. The right coordinator must instill a sense of pride and responsibility, ensuring that each player understands the expectations and the consequences of their execution. In a franchise like Dallas, where fan expectations are immense and history carries weight, creating a culture that values preparation, discipline, and adaptability is critical. When players are aligned with the vision of the coaching staff, the defense becomes greater than the sum of its parts. Before we roll on, subscribe to Cowboys Wire News, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Your support keeps the Dallas Cowboys updates coming. Tell us what you think in the comments. Rumors are swirling around the league after comments attributed to Lamar Jackson began circulating among executives, agents, and locker rooms. According to people close to the situation, the star quarterback recently hinted at the real reason why a potential move to the Cowboys never materialized. The phrase that caught everyone's attention was blunt and revealing. "That's why I didn't go to the Cowboys." Behind those words, many believe, lies a story centered on money, respect, and long-term vision. The speculation suggests that during informal conversations and exploratory talks, the financial framework presented to Jackson failed to meet his expectations. Sources claim the proposed salary structure was significantly lower than what he believes reflects his value as a franchise quarterback. For a player who has built his reputation on redefining the position with speed, leadership, and consistent production, the idea of taking a discounted deal may have felt like a step backward rather than a fresh start. Around the league, this rumor has sparked debate. Some insiders argue that the Cowboys, known for their strict cap philosophy, were unwilling to bend far enough to accommodate a fully guaranteed or top-of-market contract. Others believe the offer itself sent a message that Jackson interpreted as a lack of full commitment. In an era where elite quarterbacks are not only players but also brands, salary often symbolizes trust and belief as much as it does financial reward. What makes the situation even more intriguing is the timing. Jackson's comments, though brief, arrive at a moment when fans and analysts were already questioning how close the Cowboys truly were to landing a transformational talent. If the rumors are accurate, the negotiation breakdown was less about scheme or market size and more about perceived value. For now, neither side has confirmed details, allowing speculation to grow. Yet one thing seems clear. Lamar Jackson wanted to be paid like the cornerstone he sees himself as. And if the whispers are true, a lower salary was the decisive factor that kept one of the league's most electrifying quarterbacks from wearing a Cowboys uniform. That's a wrap from Cowboys Wire News. For breaking Cowboys updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Tell us your take in the comments.